Yeah, and so you had so many important ideas in this book. One is that the mechanical or implementation is thought
Yes.
of as being kind of subordinate or lesser than the
Yeah.
policy making apparatus. And you think about the folks in DC, what is it? It's a think tank. It's like, hey, like we should be doing this policy, we should be doing that policy. And
Yep.
then actually delivering that policy to the American people is thought of as like, oh no, that's someone else's problem. It's like not a big deal, or it's for the lessers to figure out
Yeah.
delivery. And then, but you said, look, for most Americans, the delivery is the policy, or the website is the policy.
It is. I mean, has any of us read the tax code lately? No, but we pay our taxes, and that is how we experience the tax code. It's this, it's also true of people getting social benefits like SNAP. You don't go read the eligibility rules. You don't go, read
You
the.
apply for SNAP.
You just apply, and that's how you find out. And I think that's true of so many things. But that's the delivery apparatus, the people who do delivery is not valued. It's considered sort of, yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but second class work in government. And so, and it's not just that it's second class work and sort of there's not attention paid to it. We actually pour enormous resources into it. I think what it is that we try to pretend that there's no judgment required in it. It's just something that people can take orders to do. They're going to do exactly what somebody above them has said to do, and they should not express any creativity or judgment or create priorities. That's why I
Yeah.
hear from teams
Meanwhile,
all the time.
anyone who knows that, like, if you design even like a basic web page, you have to make a dozen
Yeah,
judgments, probably a hundred
yeah.
judgments, not even a dozen.
And what are those judgments supposed to be made on? They're supposed to be made by what is going to work for the person who's going to use the website. But we try to take the person who's going to use the website and out of it.
Yeah.
What we tell people who do delivery in government to look at is a whole big set of requirements that have come down from inside the bureaucracy. That's why we talk about meeting government needs instead of meeting user needs. Now, I know we're going to need to meet government needs, but it's about what comes first. The user needs need to come first, and then we fit in, meeting some of these compliance requirements, all these government needs. But that's the part of the shift that needs to happen if we're going to have these things work.
Yeah, so I think you should give rise to a movement, Jennifer. I'm going to give you a terrible acronym for it right now. It's MGWA, which is Make Government Work Again. You can take or leave that. It's totally fine. But here's my big question for you. So I'm a huge believer in what you've laid out in this book. I think there's a desperate need to recode America and make it so that we're actually modern. You talk about how, look, investing in 21st century state capacity is not something that there's any political incentive around. Meanwhile, I think that this is the definition of where we need to go as quickly as possible, because the problems are getting worse and hairier. Institutional trust is getting lower and lower. And so the only way to turn it around is to be like, look, guys, we will actually deliver for you. We will be, accountable and transparent to you. Really, genuinely. By the way, not only did I run for president, I also even said down the stretch, I was like, look, I think there should be a new Secretary of Technology. And I think that you should just make a accounting agency. And I hinted not so subtly that I was like, and if this were to exist, like I'd be game for the job, though I dare say you'd be a better fit for it than me. But I was willing to actually say, like, look, I would do this thing. In part because I was concerned about AI and thought that someone would need to
Yeah.
get out there and actually try and interface with the AI companies in a way that was more nimble and up to date, as opposed to sort of wait for it to churn through agencies. Anyway,
You're still needed, Andrew.
well, thanks, Jennifer. You too. So I now am a huge believer in McGuire or the rise of the mechanicals, or whatever we're going to call this thing. And you end the book with something of an earnest call, being like, look, like part of this stuff is actually getting in there, applying your energies. There are a lot of heroes within these bureaucracies and organizations. Like, we have to kind of free them to be able to do the right thing. But it did get my mind racing to, okay, let's say that I was actually in that seat. Like, how could we clear the path for people to be able to do the right thing?
You mean to go into government?
Or like if it's because one of the things that I totally agree with you on is that we have this Byzantine crazy layer of code, legal code, that we just
Oh,
keep adding things to,
yeah.
and you say, look, even if I were to transpose this into the cloud, it's still a mess. Like I just took like a like a bale of. What it made me think of is like extension cords you find in a drawer. It's like you open it
Yeah.
and you find the extension cords. And you're like, hey, I'm going to take this to the cloud. It's like, well, it still looks like a freaking extension cord ball.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of need to start moving the Overton window, so to speak. You think take unemployment insurance, for example. Like, there was some talk during the pandemic of maybe we need to federalize this program, which is one sort of major shock to the system that could change things. But, what I didn't hear was we need to dramatically simplify this. I mean, really, how hard is it, right? Like, we're going to create some eligibility rules and then some benefit rules, and there's got to be some rules for adjudication, but it's not 25 years of learning that, it shouldn't be so complicated. It takes 25 years to learn. I think there are places where we need to be able to say, we have to zero base this program. Like, let's go throw it all out and design a program that would work for 2024 and 2025.
The thing that frustrates me so much right now, and your book like illustrates this over and over again, is the dumbness of the conversations we have, which is, what we need? We need more money. You know what we need? We need less money. It's like, no, we just actually need shit that works. Like, and if I spent 10% of what I'm spending now and get 85% of the value, like, I would be pumped. Like, we're supposed to be pumped. The problem is right now we're spending 100% and getting 10% of the value, and then we're like arguing and be like, you know why? You know why you're mad? It's like, we needed more money. It's like, did you really need more money? you probably didn't need more money. And the average American senses this. They're pissed off because they're like, you are not using my money effectively. I can sense that. And then that gives rise to like legitimate anger. So the thing that I want to say Magua or Rise of the Mechanicals is, it's like the actual true middle ground is like, you don't necessarily want, I melike I can say, like, in some domains you probably do want smaller government, but in some domains you probably want government that just does its job better, like actually delivers. And then on the liberal side, it's like, look, guys, like, you can point at the rule book like all day long, but if we can't get stuff done for people, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like you're using the code as an excuse not to deliver. And then if someone does try and deliver, by the way, and this is the cage that we've put the government employees in, because they're like, oh, I can't do it because of rules.
Right. They're stuck. They have this terrible accountability trap where they're judged by following the rules. But when following the rules doesn't get you the outcomes, then everyone's mad about the outcomes. But we've got to remove that accountability trap, and we need a sort of philosophy of our government that's about removing those barriers, not just about passing new legislation.